Christmas morning in Lakeport, Michigan. Snow falling outside the picture windows of my in-laws' mansion, the whole family gathered around their massive dining table like something out of a Norman Rockwell painting. Except Norman never painted a scene where the wife stands up, hurls her coffee mug at the wall, and screams accusations that make your grandmother choke on her scrambled eggs. "You gave me an STD, you disgusting piece of trash." Rhea's voice cuts through the holiday chatter like a chainsaw through silk. Every conversation stops. Every fork freezes halfway to every mouth. My daughter Amelia drops her phone with a clatter that sounds like thunder in the sudden silence. "I'm Kai Dornell, and this is the moment my life exploded." "What the hell are you talking about?" I manage, but the damage is already spreading like wildfire through the room. Rhea's parents, Harold and Margaret Morick, are staring at me like I just confessed to burning down an orphanage. My own parents look mortified, ashamed, ready to crawl under the antique Persian rug. "Don't you dare lie to me!" Rhea shrieks, tears streaming down her perfectly made-up face. "The doctor confirmed it yesterday. Chlamydia, Kai, chlamydia!" My son Ross pushes back from the table so hard his chair topples over. "Mom, what the— language!" Margaret snaps, but her eyes never leave me. Cold, judging, already convinced of my guilt. I stand up slowly, my hands shaking. Not from guilt, from pure, concentrated rage, because I know exactly what's happening here, and it's not what anyone thinks. "Rhea," I say quietly, "we need to talk, privately." "No!" She's playing to the audience now, her voice getting higher, more theatrical. "Everyone needs to hear this. Everyone needs to know what kind of man you really are." That's when she slaps me. The sound echoes through the dining room like a gunshot. My cheek stings, but not as much as the look of disgust on my daughter's face. Not as much as the way my own mother shakes her head and whispers, "Oh, Kai." I could explain. I could tell them about the test results I got 3 months ago, completely clean. I could mention how Rhea's been working late every night for the past 6 months, how she's been distant, secretive, protective of her phone like it contains state secrets. Instead, I walk to the coat closet and grab my jacket. "Where are you going?" Harold demands. "You owe us an explanation." "No," I say, pulling on my coat. "I really don't." I head for the door, but something makes me stop. Call it instinct. Call it 20 years of marriage to a woman who's always been too clever for her own good. I turn back toward the living room, where all the Christmas stockings hang from the mantelpiece like holiday decorations in a department store window. Rhea's stocking is bulging with something that doesn't look like candy canes. While everyone's still clustered around the dining table, whispering and shooting glances at me, I reach into that stocking and pull out a small black phone I've never seen before. A burner phone. My hands are steady now as I power it on. The screen lights up with dozens of text messages, all from someone labeled TJ. "Can't wait to see you tonight, baby. Your husband is such a loser. When are you leaving him? That thing you did with your tongue last week?" I scroll through months of messages, pictures, plans, hotel receipts, a whole secret life laid out in digital detail. The house has gone quiet behind me. I turn around to find Rhea standing in the doorway, her face pale as the snow outside. "Give me that," she whispers. "Interesting Christmas reading," I say, holding up the phone. "Who's TJ, honey?" She lunges for the phone, but I'm quicker. 20 years ago, I was a decent boxer, and muscle memory doesn't forget. I sidestep her grab and pocket the device. "You went through my things," she screams. "Your things?" I laugh, and it sounds harsh even to me. "This was in the family Christmas stocking, mixed in with the candy canes you bought for our kids." The family has gathered behind her now, a crowd of confused faces trying to process this new information. Harold clears his throat like he's about to say something, but I'm already done with this conversation. "Merry Christmas, everyone," I say, and walk out into the snow. Behind me, I hear Rhea start crying again, but it sounds different now, less theatrical, more desperate. As I get into my truck, I see Amelia through the window, texting furiously on her phone. Her face is twisted with something I can't quite read. Not disgust anymore. Something else. Something that looks almost like guilt. I start the engine and pull out of the circular driveway, leaving tire tracks in the perfect snow. In my rearview mirror, I watch the warm golden windows of the Morrick mansion grow smaller and smaller. That's when it hits me. This wasn't spontaneous. This wasn't Rhea having a breakdown because she got caught cheating. This was planned. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. The Ironworks boxing gym sits in the industrial district of Lakeport like a concrete middle finger pointed at the sky. It's been here since 1967, when the steel mills were still running and men like Leo Vasiliev could make a living teaching other men how to hit things without breaking their hands. Leo's 73 now, built like a fire hydrant with gray hair and scars that tell stories he's never shared. He's the closest thing I have to a father figure, which says something unfortunate about my actual father. "You look like someone ran over your dog," Leo says when I walk through the door. He's wrapping the hands of some college kid who probably thinks boxing is a good way to impress girls. "Worse," I tell him. "Someone ran over my marriage." Leo finishes with the kid and sends him to work the heavy bag. Then he turns to me with those sharp blue eyes that seem to see through everything. "Rhea?" I nod and tell him the whole story. The Christmas ambush, the STD accusation, the burner phone, all of it. Leo listens without interrupting, occasionally grunting or shaking his head. When I finish, he's quiet for a long moment. "You want revenge," he finally says. "It's not a question." "I want justice." Same thing, different word. Leo walks over to his ancient coffee pot and pours 2 cups of something that looks like motor oil. "Question is, you want to be smart about it or stupid about it?" "Smart." "Good, because stupid gets you arrested. Smart gets you satisfaction." He hands me a cup of the terrible coffee. First rule of fighting, never let them see the punch coming. I spend the next hour hitting the heavy bag until my knuckles are raw and my shirt is soaked with sweat. It doesn't make me feel better, but it clears my head enough to think. By the time I get home, word has already spread through Lakeport's gossip network like a virus. My neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, is standing at her mailbox, pretending to check for mail on a day when there's no postal delivery. She gives me a look that's half pity, half disgust. "Afternoon, Kai," she says with fake sweetness. "Mrs. Patterson." "Terrible thing. What happened at Christmas dinner? Just terrible." I stop walking. "What exactly did you hear happened?" She adjusts her glasses and leans closer, like she's sharing classified information. "Well, Harold Morrick told Jim Brennan at the hardware store that you've been unfaithful. That poor Rhea had to find out from her doctor that you've been running around with loose women." The story has already been twisted, edited, sanitized for public consumption. In this version, I'm the villain and Rhea's the victim. Classic. "That's not exactly how it happened," I say carefully. "Oh, I'm sure there are 2 sides to every story," Mrs. Patterson says, with the tone of someone who's already chosen which side to believe. "But you have to understand how it looks, Kai. A man your age, with a wife as beautiful and successful as Rhea." I leave her standing there and go inside my empty house. The silence hits me like a physical force. No TV playing in the living room, no music from Amelia's room, no sound of Rhea's fingers clicking across her laptop keyboard. Just the hum of the refrigerator and the tick of the grandfather clock in the hallway. I pour myself a drink and sit down at the kitchen table with Rhea's burner phone. TJ has been busy while I was at the gym. 3 new messages. "Your husband looked pathetic today. You're so much better off without him. Can't wait until you're free and we can be together properly. Meet me at the usual place tonight. I have something special planned." The usual place. I scroll back through weeks of messages until I find references to locations. The Marriott downtown, room 412, always room 412. I grab my coat and car keys. The Marriott's parking lot is half empty on this cold December evening. I find a spot with a clear view of the entrance and settle in to wait. At 7:30, Rhea's silver BMW pulls up to the valet stand. She gets out wearing a red dress I bought her for our anniversary last year. The irony would be funny if it didn't make me want to put my fist through the windshield. At 7:45, a black Mercedes arrives. The man who gets out is tall, well-dressed, probably in his mid-30s. He has the kind of smooth confidence that comes from never having been punched in the face. This must be TJ. I watch him walk into the hotel like he owns the place. Everything about him screams money. The cut of his suit, the way he moves, the casual arrogance of someone who's never had to worry about consequences. I sit in my truck for another hour, taking pictures with my phone, making notes, planning. When they finally come out together, laughing and touching each other like teenagers, I'm ready. The next morning, I drive to Tanner Jossman's apartment complex. Yes, I know his full name now. A little internet research goes a long way when you have a license plate number and too much time on your hands. His Mercedes is parked in spot 23B, gleaming like a black mirror under the morning sun. I walk up to it with a key in my hand, not my house key, something sharper, more pointed. Something that will leave a nice long scratch along the driver's side door. The metal makes a satisfying screech as I drag the key from the front wheel well to the back bumper. Then I do the same thing on the passenger side. Finally, I take out a piece of paper and write, "Merry Christmas, home wrecker. A concerned citizen." I tuck the note under his windshield wiper and walk back to my truck. As I'm pulling out of the parking lot, I notice a security camera mounted on a light pole pointed directly at the Mercedes. My heart starts pounding. Did I just make a huge mistake? Then I remember Leo's words. Smart gets you satisfaction. I pull out my phone and call the apartment complex's management office. "Hi, this is Detective Morrison with Lakeport PD," I say, deepening my voice slightly. "We had a report of vandalism in your parking lot last night. I need to know if your security cameras were operational." "Oh no," the woman on the phone says. "What happened?" "Vehicle damage. Nothing too serious, but we'd like to check your footage if possible." "I'm sorry, Detective, but our camera system has been down for maintenance since last week. We're waiting for parts." "No problem. Thanks for your time." I hang up and smile for the first time in days. Smart indeed. 3 days later, I'm standing in line at Brennan's Hardware when I overhear Jim Brennan himself talking to another customer about that situation with Kai Dornell. "Shame about the whole thing," Jim says, shaking his head. "Always seemed like a decent guy, but you never know what goes on behind closed doors." "His wife's been coming into my shop more often lately," the other man replies. "Always looks upset. Makes sense now." I pay for my purchases, a new deadbolt lock and some weather stripping, and leave without saying a word. But I'm taking mental notes. The story is spreading, mutating, getting worse with each retelling. By the time I get home, I've been transformed from faithful husband to serial cheater in the span of 72 hours. My phone rings as I'm installing the new deadbolt. It's Ross, my son. "Dad, we need to talk." "About what?" "About Mom. About what really happened on Christmas." There's something in his voice I haven't heard before. Uncertainty. Like maybe he's starting to question the official version of events. "What do you want to know?" "Did you really cheat on her?" The question hangs in the air between us. I could lie, try to protect him from the ugly truth about his mother, but I'm tired of being the villain in everyone else's story. "No, son, I didn't." "Then why would she say you did?" That's a very good question. We meet at Murphy's Diner, a greasy spoon on the edge of town where the coffee is terrible but the booths are private. Ross looks older than his 22 years, worn down by the family drama. "Mom's been acting weird for months," he says after we order. "Secretive. Always on her phone, always working late. Amelia noticed it too." Did she say anything to you about it? Not directly, but she's been asking a lot of questions about divorce law, about custody, about who gets what when a marriage ends. The pieces are starting to form a picture, and it's not pretty. Ross, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me. He nods. Did your mother tell you and Amelia what she was planning to do on Christmas morning? His face changes. The uncertainty becomes something closer to shame. She said you'd been acting suspicious, that she thought you were cheating. She wanted to confront you in front of the family so you couldn't lie your way out of it. And you believed her? I wanted to. It was easier than thinking. He stops, stares at his untouched coffee. Easier than thinking what? Easier than thinking she was the one cheating. We sit in silence for a moment. Outside, snow is starting to fall again, coating the parking lot in fresh white lies. Dad, what are you going to do? I look at my son, this good kid who's been caught in the middle of something ugly and complicated, and I make a decision. I'm going to find out the truth, all of it, and then I'm going to make sure everyone else knows it too. That evening, I sit down at my computer with Rhea's burner phone and a yellow legal pad. Time to do some detective work. Tanner Jossman, it turns out, works at the same advertising agency as Rhea. He's a senior account executive, divorced, no kids. His social media profiles paint him as exactly the kind of guy I expected. Expensive restaurants, luxury vacations, gym selfies that scream midlife crisis. But it's his LinkedIn profile that gives me the most interesting information. He's been with Morrison & Associates for 8 months. Rhea's been acting strange for 6 months. The timeline fits. I start going through our credit card statements, looking for patterns. Hotel charges, restaurant bills, unexplained expenses. What I find makes my stomach turn. Rhea's been using our joint account to pay for her affair. Dinners at expensive restaurants I've never been to. Charges at lingerie stores. A weekend getaway to Chicago that she told me was a work conference. She's been funding her betrayal with our money. I print everything out and organize it in a folder. Bank statements, credit card bills, phone records, screenshots from the burner phone. A complete record of my wife's double life. Then I start planning phase 2 of my revenge. Morrison & Associates has a strict policy about workplace relationships. I know this because Rhea complained about it when she started working there. Puritanical nonsense, she called it. Like adults can't manage their own personal lives. I wonder if she still feels that way. I create an anonymous email account and compose a message to the company's HR department. I attach screenshots of some of the more explicit text messages between Rhea and Tanner, along with copies of the hotel receipts. Thought you should know about the relationship between 2 of your employees, I write. This seems like the kind of thing that could create a hostile work environment. I hit send and lean back in my chair. Leo was right. The best punches are the ones they never see coming. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. We need to talk. Tanner. I stare at the message for a long moment, then type back. I don't think we do. I know you keyed my car. Prove it. This doesn't have to get ugly. I laugh out loud at that one. Too late. Meet me tomorrow, noon, Murphy's Diner. Let's handle this like adults. I consider ignoring him, but curiosity wins out. Fine. But you're buying coffee. The next day, I arrive at Murphy's 15 minutes early and claim a booth in the back corner where I can see the whole restaurant. Tanner walks in right on time, looking around nervously until he spots me. Up close, he's younger than I thought, maybe 34 or 35. Good-looking in a generic way, like a stock photo model. He slides into the booth across from me and immediately starts talking. Look, I know this situation is complicated. Complicated? I interrupt. That's an interesting word for it. What I mean is, nobody intended for things to happen this way. Really? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks pretty intentional. He shifts uncomfortably in his seat. Rhea and I, what we have is real. It's not just some fling. How romantic. Does Hallmark make cards for that? Congratulations on your adultery, it's the real thing. You don't understand. Your marriage was over long before I came along. According to who? According to Rhea. She told me you two have been living like roommates for years. No intimacy, no connection, just going through the motions. I leaned forward. And you believed her? Why would she lie? Gee, I don't know. Maybe because married women who want to justify cheating on their husbands tend to exaggerate how unhappy they are. Tanner's confidence is starting to crack. She's filing for divorce. She wants to be with me. Then why the elaborate Christmas morning performance? Why not just ask for a divorce like a normal person? He doesn't have an answer for that. I'll tell you why, I continue. Because she wanted to make me the bad guy. She wanted everyone to think I was the cheater, so when the divorce goes through, she looks like the victim instead of the homewrecker. That's not... She wouldn't she? How well do you really know Rhea, Tanner? Have you met her family? Her friends? Do you know anything about her life outside of hotel rooms and text messages? I can see the doubt creeping into his eyes. Here's what's going to happen, I say, standing up. You're going to stay away from my wife. You're going to stay away from my family. And if I see you anywhere near my house, we're going to have a very different kind of conversation. Are you threatening me? I'm educating you. There's a difference. I drop a $5 bill on the table and walk out, leaving Tanner sitting alone in the booth. As I get into my truck, my phone buzzes with a text from Rhea. What did you say to Tanner? He's acting weird. I type back, ask him yourself. You two seem to communicate just fine. 3 dots appear, then disappear, then appear again. Finally, we need to talk. Now you want to talk? Interesting timing. I'm coming over. Don't. I change the locks. The 3 dots appear and disappear several more times before she finally sends. This isn't over. I smile as I start the engine. No, it's not. Rhea shows up at my house that evening anyway, pounding on the front door like she's trying to break it down. Open up, Kai. This is my house too. I watch her through the peephole for a moment. She looks frantic, desperate. Her perfect hair is disheveled and her makeup is smudged. This is not the composed, confident woman who destroyed our marriage on Christmas morning. Go away, Rhea. We can talk through lawyers. I'm not leaving until you open this door. Then you're going to be standing out there for a long time. She starts crying. Real tears this time, not the theatrical performance she put on for her family. Please, Kai. I know you're angry, but we can work this out. Work what out? Your affair? Your lies? The way you humiliated me in front of our children? I made a mistake. You made a lot of mistakes. The question is, which one are you sorry about? Cheating on me or getting caught? The crying stops. When she speaks again, her voice is cold and calculating. The real Rhea, the one I've been married to for 20 years. Fine. You want to play hardball? I've got a lawyer too. And when I'm done with you, you'll be lucky to see the kids once a month. Looking forward to it, I say, and walk away from the door. She pounds on it for another 10 minutes before finally giving up. The next morning, I get a call from my business partner, Mike Chen. Mike and I run a small construction company. Nothing fancy, but it pays the bills and keeps us busy. Kai, we need to talk. I'm getting some weird phone calls. What kind of phone calls? People asking about your personal situation, whether it's affecting your work, whether they should be concerned about hiring us. The character assassination campaign has reached my livelihood. Of course it has. What did you tell them? The truth. That you're the most reliable guy I know and your personal life is none of their business. But Kai, this could hurt us if it keeps up. I know, I'm working on it. Working on what? Fixing the problem. That afternoon, I drive to Morrison & Associates. It's one of those sleek glass buildings that looks like it was designed by someone who's never actually worked in an office. All style, no substance, kind of like Tanner. I park across the street and wait. At 5:15, employees start trickling out of the building. At 5:30, I see Rhea emerge with a group of coworkers. She's laughing at something someone said, playing the role of the successful career woman without a care in the world. At 5:45, Tanner comes out alone. He looks around nervously before getting into his Mercedes, the one with the fresh scratches down both sides. I follow him at a distance as he drives through downtown Lakeport. He stops at a liquor store, then a florist, then heads toward the residential district on the north side of town. His apartment complex is one of those modern places with names like The Residences at Wherever or Luxury Living at Someplace Else. This one is called Lakeview Towers, even though the only lake you can see from here is a retention pond behind the grocery store. I park in the visitor section and watch Tanner carry his purchases up to a third-floor apartment. Unit 3C, according to the numbers on the door. Then I wait. At 7 o'clock, Rhea's BMW pulls into the parking lot. I take pictures as she gets out of her car, walks up to Tanner's apartment, and lets herself in with her own key. Apparently, they've moved past the hotel phase of their relationship. I sit in my truck until midnight, documenting everything. What time she arrived, what she was wearing, how long she stayed. Building a case, one photograph at a time. The next day, I call in a favor from an old friend. Danny Rodriguez works for the phone company. We went to high school together, and he's helped me out with a few electrical jobs over the years. More importantly, he's discreet. I need a favor, Danny. What kind of favor? The legal kind. I need phone records for my own account. Rhea's been using a second phone, and I need to prove it for the divorce. That's tricky, Kai. Even if it's your account, there are privacy issues. What if I told you she's been using our joint credit card to pay for it? Danny is quiet for a moment. That changes things. If you're the account holder and you're paying the bills, I am. Give me a few days. While I wait for Danny to work his magic, I start phase 3 of my plan. Social media warfare. I create a fake Facebook account with a generic name and a stock photo profile picture. Then I start friending people in Lakeport, neighbors, co-workers, members of Rhea's book club, parents from the kids' schools. Once I have a decent network established, I start posting. Nothing obvious or accusatory, just innocent little observations that plant seeds of doubt. Saw Kai Dornell at the Marriott downtown yesterday evening. Didn't know she had business meetings there. Must be nice to have such a flexible job. Interesting how some people can afford expensive dinners at Romano's every week on a construction worker's salary. Maybe I'm in the wrong line of work. Does anyone else think it's weird when married people have secret phones, asking for a friend? Each post gets a few likes, a few comments, a few shares. The gossip network that destroyed my reputation is about to work in reverse. Danny calls me 3 days later. "I've got your phone records," he says. "You're not going to like what you see." We meet at a coffee shop on the outskirts of town. Danny hands me a thick manila envelope. "The second phone has been active for 8 months," he says. "Hundreds of calls and texts to the same number. And get this, the bills have been automatically charged to your credit card the whole time. She's been making me pay for her affair. That's not even the worst part. Look at page 12. I flip through the records until I find page 12. It's a detailed breakdown of call locations, times, and durations. She's been calling him from our house, I say, staring at the data. From our bedroom, while I was at work. And look at the timing of some of these calls. I scan the list and feel my stomach drop. 3-hour phone conversations on nights when Rhea told me she was working late. Text message exchanges during family dinners, church services, our son's graduation. She's been living a double life for months. I'm sorry, man. I really am. I thank Danny and drive home with the evidence burning a hole in my passenger seat. This is it, the smoking gun that will blow Rhea's victim narrative to pieces. But I'm not ready to use it yet. First, I want to set the stage for maximum impact. I call Ross and Amelia and invite them to dinner on Saturday night. Just the three of us, I tell them. We need to have a family conversation. Then I call Harold and Margaret Morrick. I'd like to come over this weekend, I tell Harold. There are some things about Christmas morning that I think you should know. I'm not sure that's a good idea, Kai. Please, just give me 30 minutes. If you don't like what I have to say, I'll leave and never bother you again. Harold is quiet for a long moment. Saturday afternoon, 2:00. Thank you. One more call to make. I dial Rhea's number. What do you want? She answers. I want to make a deal. What kind of deal? Meet me Sunday morning, 10:00, the old cabin at Miller's Lake. Why would I do that? Because if you don't, everyone in town is going to know the truth about your affair by Monday morning. You're bluffing. Am I? Check your email. I hang up and send her a single photograph, Rhea walking into Tanner's apartment building with her own key. She calls back 30 seconds later. You've been stalking me. I've been documenting your adultery. There's a difference. This is harassment. This is evidence. 10:00 Sunday morning, Rhea. Don't be late. I hang up and lean back in my chair. The trap is set. Saturday dinner with Ross and Amelia is easier than expected. I show them everything. Hotel receipts, phone records, credit card charges, the whole map of their mother's affair and Christmas morning ambush. She made me pay for everything, I tell them. They study the evidence in stunned silence. What are you going to do? Amelia asks. Tell the truth, starting with your grandparents. At the Morrick mansion, Harold and Margaret refuse to believe any of it, until I show them explicit texts and my clean medical test from before Christmas. Their certainty crumbles. I leave them arguing behind a closed door. Sunday, I meet Rhea at the abandoned cabin by Miller's Lake. She looks small, scared, defensive. I ask why she accused me publicly. I needed everyone on my side, she admits. I knew the divorce was coming. I wanted to look like the victim. And the STD lie? It made sense at the time. That's what you call sense? She breaks down. Tears, apologies, excuses. I let her talk. Then I show her my phone. We've been live streaming the whole conversation. Her face drains of color. She screams, lunges, collapses when she realizes the whole town, including our kids, already heard everything. I tell her to stay away from me and leave her in the empty cabin. On my drive home, Ross and Amelia are waiting. Dad, did you really live stream it? Yes. Ross nods. Honestly? Brilliant. We sit at the kitchen table. They ask what happens next. Divorce, I say, and then life. That evening at Ironworks Gym, Leo hands me terrible coffee and says, "Justice isn't revenge. Justice is making things right." For once, I reply, I think things are finally right. The next morning, downtown Lakeport buzzes with gossip. At the diner, Jim Brennan apologizes for believing Rhea's story. Sometimes the truth needs a spotlight, he says. Later, Morrison and Associates calls. They want to hire me, the man who exposed the scandal tearing through their offices. I accept a meeting. When I get home, Amelia texts, "Mom's moving out. She won't contest the divorce." Ross texts, "Tanner got fired." I sit in my truck, watching the quiet street. For the first time since Christmas morning, everything feels peaceful. Justice tastes better than revenge, and even better than Leo's terrible coffee.